Hello, it's Keycards here with another Keycards video. Welcome back to our Rust tutorial series. I've been reading your comments. Firstly, thank you so much for the support. Secondly, I hear your feedback, and today we're going to be addressing one of the things that you wanted to know about, and that is keycards. Before we start, I also saw a comment about the modded servers, how I didn't talk about that in the first episode, and you're totally right, I should have talked about that. We're actually going to play on a modded server today because it's going to help us with extra gather rates, being able to get ourselves set up a little bit more quickly. So we talked about official servers, community servers in the first episode, so pop that link there in the top corner just if you want to go back and have a look at that one. But the modded servers, as you can see, it's populating here. There are hundreds and hundreds of these servers. And the likelihood is you're going to find more servers here with added plugins, so modifications to the server that might make things a little bit different, a little bit more fun, perhaps a little easier if you are a new player. One thing that I'm using a modded server list for today is for gather rates, because on the modded servers you're going to find more easily higher multiplications of gather rates and insta-crafting as well, which will help us in this video. So I'm just going to try and find one here. We've got like 5 times gather rate here. I'm actually going to look for one that's got like no players on, just because I don't want to be interrupted in the video. But just so you can see what I'm doing here, you can see clicking on players up there sorts it out. So if we wanted to go on a massive population, we could obviously go to that one. If we wanted to go to no population, obviously we can click it again and do this. So I'm going to find myself a server, and then I'll see you in there. Okay, we are in. This is a modded server that I found. So as you can see on the bottom left, it's got a few plugins, so it tells you when the cargo ship's there, helis come in, etc. You can see also in the bottom left, I'm the only person out of 200 population on this server, and then it's given me some meat to start off with. So that's the deal with modded servers. You can run different plugins. Sometimes it will sort your inventory, and it can, if you've got large storage boxes and things, you can click sort, and all sorts of plugins that make your life easier. So if you were starting out on Rust, modded servers could be quite a nice way to skip the grind, as one of you guys mentioned in one of the previous videos. So today's video is actually about keycards. I've had a few people messaging me or commenting below some of the videos before, asking me to talk about the keycards, which were added in, I don't know, about 6 to 9 months ago now, so I'm a little bit behind the times. However, if we go into the map, you can see that there are lots and lots of monuments, and the monuments are essentially the labelled places on the map. So you've got train yard here, the dome, launch site, Oxham's gas station, lighthouse, abandoned supermarket, you've got harbour, and each one of these has a lot of loot, so you're going to want to go there. And they've added in, with the keycards, puzzles that you can do to unlock certain areas using certain keycards to give you access to further loot. Now, these are graded in different tiers. So I would say the tier 1 of these monuments are going to be the areas where you will find green keycards, and we're going to look at those in a moment. So you've got the gas station, you've got supermarket, lighthouse, and junkyard, where on top of the cargo crate, right at the top that juts out over the top, there's a desk where one of the cards is on there as well. Sometimes people forget that because they don't tend to go all the way up there to look, because it's a bit exposed. Then you've got the tier 2 areas. So tier 2 areas are going to be places like the satellite dish, where you need to have the green card to get into the puzzle, and then you'll be able to retrieve blue cards. So satellite dish is one of those. There are 2 harbour types, in case you didn't realise. So you can notice on the map that this harbour looks different to this harbour in the top left on the map there. So each of those harbour types is going to be a tier 2 monument, and there you can also obtain a blue key card using the green ones that you will get from the tier 1 places. Another one of those tier 2 areas is, I'm not sure it's on this, oh yes it is, there we are, the sewer branch. So sewer branch is another one of the tier 2 locations. If you're going up in the world and you want to investigate even further, this is probably the level at which I would say that most people are going to play in Rust. You're going to be looking for the middle tier areas. Okay, so these are even higher. These are, I would argue, tier 3. So you've got the tier 1 where you're going to get green, you've got tier 2 where you're going to get blue, and you've got a tier 3 where you're going to obtain a red card. Now, these tier 3 areas are places like the airfield, the train yard, water treatment plant, and also the power plant. Now, the power plant is, I think, a questionable monument, and it's not somewhere that I think a lot of players really say is that great, so I would potentially move away from the power plant. But airfield and train yard, I believe, are two of the best monuments for accessing the blue card areas, where you'll be able to get the red cards. Now, on top of this, you've got the really high levels, so the top tier areas like the military tunnels and the launch site, and these can only have you can only access the loot areas in these, or the locked loot areas, with a red card, and the red card can only be obtained from the tier 3 areas. So basically, you have to level yourself up. So you'll start by finding a green card and some fuses, and then you will use the green card to access green card areas, where you will then get a blue card to access red tier areas, and then you'll be able to get the red card from there. So you have to keep leveling up. So you can't just go straight to like airfield and get into the blue card area, because it needs a blue card. So to get that, you have to go to a tier 1 for the green card. So the lighthouse is one of the easiest places to get a green card, and it's one of the first places you'll probably visit when you spawn in, being that you spawn in on a beach. So there's a good chance you'll have a lighthouse nearby. So as you enter the lighthouse, you're going to come through this door. Obviously you can take your barrels, and then you're going to go into this room on the right. So as you come in, you go into the room on the right, and on the far desk you will find a green key card. Okay, so the green key card, it's a low-level clearance card granting access to basic areas. So the basic areas, just to repeat, it's going to be places like the satellite dish, harbour and sewer branch. Once you've got that, you can actually unlock the areas to get, that's quite nice, to get yourself the blue card. So when you spawn in on the beach, the likelihood is that you're going to be near to something like a lighthouse or a supermarket or a gas station, which is a level 1 area. The reason why they've done that is because obviously you can then access low-level tier loot and cards fairly quickly to get yourself set up. So we've popped across from the lighthouse to the abandoned supermarket. So here we are at the abandoned supermarket, and we are going to head into the back left room, where there is a desk and a green key card. Now, it's all very well getting the key cards, but it's pretty important to say right now that the key cards are obsolete if you do not find fuses. So one of the things we're going to try and find is a fuse, and these can be found in boxes like this, and toolboxes, and sometimes you'll find them in the monuments where people haven't collected them. So one of the other low-level areas is the gas station, as we can see here. And we're just going to pop into the rear office over here, and we can find another key card. So playing on a modded server has its perks. I've been playing for like, I don't know, 3 minutes, and we've already got a Tommy and an M9 from boxes.
Oh hell yeah!
Now the roads are really useful because obviously they're a good spot for loot. Sometimes they have scientists on. They can be a bit of a hub for players, so you've got to watch your back. But they often have crates, like the one on the right there, where you can pick up your fuses. It's also worth noting that if you're near a mining outpost, I haven't found any green cards at the mining outpost. Correct me if I'm wrong, if they've added that in more recently. But it looks like it should be a level 1 area to get yourself a card, but actually it's not somewhere that I've found any. Alright, so I found myself some electric fuses. Here, this is what they look like. In the server that you play on, they'll probably just be on their own. And sometimes players will just discard them, which I think is a bit of a mistake, because whenever you need them, you can't find them. So keep a bunch of fuses at home, back in base, just ready for when you are going to use those key cards. Okie dokie. So let's say that you've been around the supermarket, the gas station, or the lighthouse, and you have found yourself green key cards. Okay. with your green key cards, you're going to want to go to either the satellite dish, either the harbours, or perhaps the sewer branch. You're going to take that with one of the fuses that you have found. We are, for this purpose, going to go into this harbour. Now, it's worth noting there are also two types of harbour. And the two types of harbour have the puzzles in slightly different places. If you want to find out where those puzzles are, you can visit rustified.com. And they have a nice walkthrough guide to exactly where these puzzles are. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to run straight over there. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to turn that switch. I'm going to put the fuse in. I'm going to run over here to the door. Swipe our card. That lets us in. We got a blue card, and we're also going to get loot here. Right, now we're going to be clever because we don't want to waste our fuse. We're going to run back. Turn this off. And we are going to recollect our fuse so it can be used again. So this same process can be done at the satellite dish. So we're going to head over to the satellite dish now, and I'll quickly show you how to do that one. The harbours are pretty similar, so you can do both types of harbour, and then the satellite dish as a really good way of getting these. If you wanted to, you can also do the sewer branch. Alrighty, so we are now at the satellite dish. Same process as the harbour. So the switch is here, and the fuse is actually inside this same building. So we're going to go in here, we're going to find this, we're going to pop in our fuse, and we're going to run around. We're going to flick the switch, and then we're going to use our trigger finger. That's it, be patient. So open that, and there's our next blue card. Of course, we can access our loot here too. So before we go, we are going to take our fuse back. So we might want to use it. So just to recap what we've done, we've been to the tier 1 areas. So we've been to the supermarket, the lighthouse, and the gas station. We haven't been to the junkyard because it's too far away, but you can find green cards there as well. We're on our way. We have gone down the roads and found fuses, and we've used those fuses to complete the small green card puzzles in the harbour and the satellite dish, both giving us access to the blue cards. So this is the point where I think most players really want to be, because the blue card areas are the ones that are going to give you the better loot. So we are going to go straight to the airfield, which is a zone that also has a green and a blue card area, and it will therefore give us access to the red cards too. So we are coming in from this particular area on the runway. You can see that the tower is on the left, the hangars are on the right. I hear a helicopter, so I'm going to run fairly swiftly. We're going to head straight for the building with the hangar. The aerial tower, sorry. Straight for the building with the aerial tower. Now, the quickest way to get to the fuse area is actually nipping in here, popping through. So where the recycler is, we're going to take an immediate right, and then in here. So this is where we put up our fuse in. And as soon as we do this, you'll see a little stopwatch. So this is where it gets tricky, because it actually has a small timer on it. I've never had any problems with the timer, so long as you run fairly quickly, out the door, straight past the truck, over this wall. And down here. So we're going to run straight down here. I'm going to hit a green door, so we need our green key card ready. With this, we would swipe it. It appears somebody's here. And we're going to come straight in. Now you notice that the card broke. The cards can't be used indefinitely, so you need to watch that. And you can get lots of loot in here. Lots of loot indeed, before heading through into the armory section. If you go and look in this window, you see lots of other boxes, and we want to get in there. So we're going to run around. I'm going to put in a second fuse. So we're going to put our second fuse in here. And now you can see that we have a blue card reader. open sesame, and we're now into the blue card area, and you can see there's elite crates in here, military boxes, and of course that red key card. So we've now got our green key cards, blue key card, and our red key card. And you can obviously help yourself to all of the juicy loot that is in here. But on your way out, make sure that you grab that fuse, because we want to make sure that we don't lose it. To exit, you head out this way. And this will bring us happily out by the hangars, so you can immediately dip into cover and basically run away. Now the reason I like the airfield so much is because I think it's fairly easy to get a green card, and if you can get a green card and fuses, then it's fairly easy to get blue cards, because the harbour and satellite dish monuments are quite easy to access. And things like the satellite dish is quite open, so you can stake it out quite easily and see if anybody else is there. So once you've got that, you've got the green and blue cards, you can head to places like the airfield. And I think the airfield is particularly good. The other one that I'd recommend is the train yard. It's very, very similar to the airfield. It's a lot more exposed because you have to go up the main building. But you still get a lot of loot, and you don't have to spend that long doing it. Once you get the red cards, you'll be able to access the military tunnel sites and the launch site lockups, both of which are a lot more challenging to go to, probably higher populated. The military tunnels obviously have enemies in them, have NPCs. So for most players, I would say that actually green cards, blue cards are probably your go-tos. I can have a lot of fun just using the blue card areas, so going to the airfield and train yard, going to water treatment, potentially power plant, but I don't really go there that often because I don't think for the time that you have to put in, it's that worth it. Definitely the airfield, definitely the train yard, and water treatment if I need to. But you can get loads of loot there, get yourself set up, and of course it's all the stuff that you can then recycle for plenty of scrap. So one of the other reasons I quite like the airfield, because the recycler is quite easy to cover, so you can do everything you need to in there, get your scrap sorted, and then head home. So on this map, one of the best places you could probably live for a newish player, maybe a middle amateur player, is probably somewhere around F12, F13, F11, because you've got areas to get your green cards, areas to get your blue cards, but also the airfield quite close. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not going to go into the red areas because it's the same concept, and I don't want to go into all the puzzles. If you want to have a look at that, of course you can look at rustified.com, which is linked in the description. I really hope that you found this video useful. I wish you a very happy new year, and of course a Merry Christmas, and I hope that you will subscribe, like the videos, and please keep up the support because it really means a lot. So thanks ever so much.